and the coat. Our dress rehearsal on April
24th.
24th. Yeah, it's 24th.
All right, great.
2014.
birthday.
And it is exactly 4:41.
In
21 seconds.
Oh, it goes.
Long, long ago, in the land of Canaan, lived a farmer named Jacob. Jacob had a very large family. They all helped to farm the land and to take care of the animals. There were 12 sons. Their names were Reuben, Simeon, Jodah, Issachar, Isaki, well, anyway, take my word for it. There were 12 sons. Jacob made the mistake of openly favoring one of his younger sons above all the rest. Oh, yes, Jacob loved Joseph much more than the other boys. He even gave Joseph a beautiful rainbow-colored coat made from the wool of his finest sheep. When Joseph's brothers saw him wearing the new coat, they became jealous. They felt their father had been unfair to them. They said one to one another,
It's too big for him.
It should have been mine.
I'm the oldest, but I'm the tallest.
But I worked the hardest.
That kid's a jerk.
Joseph's attitude didn't help the situation. In his brightly colored coat, he stood tall before his brothers and told them the dreams he had during the night. In one of my dreams, my grain stalk was standing up, and your grain stalks were bowing down in front of mine. And in another dream, even the sun, the moon, and 11 stars kneeled in my presence. Well, this only made the brothers more jealous and angry.
Stupid dreamer.
He's too big for his britches.
We need to get even with that pipsqueak. Let's beat him up.
Let's pinch him.
Let's punch him.
Let's tie him up. Let's rip up his silly coat. Let's kill him.
But Reuben, the oldest, said, "Nah, let's just drop him into a pit and scare him a little." And that's exactly what they did. It wasn't long until some of the brothers spotted Ishmaelites traveling in a camel caravan to Egypt. Here's our chance, they said one to one another. Reuben isn't here to stop us. Let's tell our snooty brother to these people as a slave. Quick as a flash, the deal was done. However, just as the caravan left, Reuben returned. "Where is Joseph?" he asked. Then the brothers realized they still had a problem. True, they had gotten rid of their boastful brother, but now they had to explain it to their father, Jacob. They panicked.
What are we going to tell Dad?
We can't tell him the truth.
I know. Let's tear up Joseph's coat. Smear it with animal blood.
And tell Father that Joseph was attacked by a wild animal.
Good idea. When
Jacob heard the news about Joseph, he tore his clothes and mourned for his son. His family tried to comfort him, but Jacob continued to grieve. Isn't this a sad story? Jacob's mistake of favoring Joseph over his other sons had caused hurt feelings. The brothers reacted to Joseph with the sin of jealousy, and Joseph was just a little too prideful of being his father's favorite son. We can learn a lesson from this story. You see, when people sin against each other and disobey God's law to love one another, then unhappy times are sure to come.
But what happened to Joseph?
Oh, yes. When Joseph arrived in Egypt, he was sold as a slave to Potiphar, captain of Pharaoh's army. Joseph was all alone now, and his prideful spirit began to change. He cried out to God for help, and God heard him. He blessed Joseph and made him the chief servant in Potiphar's house. Joseph obeyed God and was an honest and trustworthy servant. But then one day, Joseph was thrown into prison for something he didn't even do. Talk about having the blues. Joseph had a choice to make. Would he become angry with God for this unfair treatment, or would he continue to trust God and be obedient? Happily, he made a wise decision. He chose to believe God no matter what happened. Soon God blessed Joseph and made him the chief servant of the prison. Then, 2 years later, Pharaoh called for Joseph to come before him. He had heard that Joseph could explain his strange dreams. Dreams about 7 fat cows and 7 skinny cows, 7 good ears of corn and 7 bad corn on the cobs. Joseph told Pharaoh that this meant there would be 7 years of plenty for Egypt. Then 7 years of famine and great need. Pharaoh was so impressed that he gave Joseph some fine gifts: a ring, a gold chain, beautiful clothes, and a chariot. He also made Joseph governor of all the land. Okay, the brothers. Well, when the 7 bad years of famine came, there was no more food in Canaan. So Jacob had to send his sons to Egypt to buy grain. When they arrived there, they went straight to Pharaoh's governor. The brothers didn't recognize Joseph, but he knew exactly who they were. They bowed down before Joseph and pleaded for food to take back home. Of course, Joseph wanted to help them, but first he had to see if they had repented of their jealousy and evil deeds. So he tested them. He pretended to accuse them of spying. He threatened to enslave Benjamin, the youngest. The brothers became very distressed.
It's all your fault.
We're being punished.
Why did we do wrong with our brother Joseph?
It was your idea.
At last Joseph began to weep, and he told his brothers who he was. Then they all started to cry and hugged each other. The brothers confessed how rotten they had been, and Joseph forgave them. The Pharaoh gave Joseph's family rich farmland in Egypt and all the food they needed to get through the famine. Now they all lived together as a happy family. Everyone was so proud of Joseph. The story should inspire us to live by God's law of love, even in unfair circumstances. You see, although Joseph no longer had a coat of many colors from his earthly father, Jacob, he now had his family and many wonderful blessings from God, his heavenly Father.
We really
Okay.
yeah.
We messed up that
Yeah, we
47.
did.
That was really